Hey guys, in this video we are going to see how can we download a file over REST API using REST Assured. Now from the REST API development stand perspective, since file may be huge, we need to train our REST API code not to load the entire file content in memory, but to use the chunk transfer encoding feature HTTP 1.1 supports. So what is this chunk transfer encoding? Guys, chunk transfer encoding is a streaming data transfer mechanism available in version 1.1 of HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. In chunk transfer encoding, the data stream is divided into a series of non-overlapping chunks. The chunks are sent out and received independently of one another. No knowledge of the data stream outside the currently being processed chunk is necessary for both the sender and the receiver at any given time. Each chunk is preceded by its size in bytes. The transmission ends when a zero-length chunk is received. The chunk keyword in the transfer encoding header is used to indicate chunk transfer, and hence we must test this header in the response headers. Now guys, I have opened this Postman. I'm now gonna walk you through the endpoint under test and this chunk transfer encoding thing. So this is my endpoint, download a file. Now the URL of this is localhost 5002 and this is the path parameter API/download, and then guys this is my query parameter, name is equal to ye.jpg. So if I open my REST API, under this file download folder, currently I have this file, okay, and the name of this file is ye.jpg. So you have to pass in the same name to this endpoint. You have the authorization in place, which is the basic authentication. You set admin as the username and admin again as the password. Now you just hit the send button and you see the file is downloaded, status is equal to 200. Okay, now if we go to the headers and scroll down, there you go, you see transfer encoding is equal to chunk. Now from the testing stand perspective, as you might already know, we use streams to work with files in Java. So the approach would be to convert the response into binary stream and then output the same to a physical file. So what is a stream? A stream is an ordered sequence of bytes. Now from that stream, there are various ways we can write data to a physical file. Now in this video, we'd make use of ByteArray, InputStream, FileOutputStream and Files APIs provided by Java. So let's get started. In the Eclipse, whatever file that I'm going to download, I'll place that file under this downloads folder. Okay. Now under basics package, I've created this file download basic Java file. Okay. And you already see some code in here. Now, if you have been following this series from the very beginning, you already know this code. Okay. But if you are new, don't worry. So we have one before method. Okay. In the before method, I'm just setting up the request object and generating the response. So this is my base URI, then this is my base path, okay, API/download, and then in this statement we are just setting up the basic authentication credentials. Okay, then we are just making that get request, and we are also adding the query parameter. Remember, this is the name of the file, and we are storing the response in this response object. Okay, and there is a method at the end which is after method. So like I said in the response, okay, we have to ensure that we have this header transfer encoding, and this equal to method is a static method coming from Hamcrest Matches library. So in that I'm just providing chunk. Okay, so that's about before and after method. Now this is my first test case, when what we are doing is we are downloading the file using ByteArray. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna remove this throw exceptions to start with. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to store the file into ByteArray. So we're gonna start from response, and then we say dot, and in here you have this method as ByteArray. All right, so now you save that in the ByteArray. So you say ByteArray, and let's call it downloaded file bytes. So you say downloaded file bytes is equal to this. There you go. Next step is we have to create the file output stream, and then we have to write this data, byte array data into that file output stream, and at the end we have to close this stream. Okay, so how do we do that? So I say file output stream, which comes from java.io. I'm gonna call it FOS is equal to new and then file output stream. This is the method that we are going to use. So we are going to provide the path of the file. Okay, if the file does not exist, right, it will be created automatically. Currently, as you could see, there is no file with the name test under downloads folder. Okay, so I'm gonna use system.get property and I'm gonna append the relative path of that file like so. Okay, when I do so, it will throw an exception. So let's add that. Next step is, like I said, once I have the file output stream, and say I'm gonna write the byte array. So you could see the first method is this, and we provided this. Okay, now again it is throwing some exception, so let's add the throw declaration. All right, we are good. And the last step is we have to close the resource, and for that you have this method close. Okay, you save it, you run this, and hopefully the test would pass and a file should get downloaded. Okay, the test is passed, and now if I refresh this project, okay, the file is downloaded. I double click on it. This is the same file that I have in here. All right, now you might not be able to see this file in your Eclipse. So for that, what I've done is I've added a plugin to, load these images. Okay, so I'm gonna close this, and we're gonna look at a better way of writing the same code. Now, like I said, it is important to close the resource, but if you forget to do so, okay, it's a bad practice. So we can avoid this, okay, mistake using try with resources statement. Now in Java, the try with resources statement is a try statement that declares one or more resources. The resource is an object that must be closed after finishing the program. The try with resources statement ensures that each resource is closed at the end of the statement execution. So the next test case targets that only. So for that, we have to set it to false. Enable our next test case by setting it to true, and as the name suggests, try with resources. So this is my resource. So you say try, you put that in parentheses, and then you start the try block. Okay, and now you just cut this particular line, paste it in here, and we are good. We don't need to close this resource explicitly now. Okay, so if we do it this way, resource would be closed automatically. All right, so we have to delete this image to save everything and run it again. The test is again successful, and hopefully a file should also be downloaded. So let us refresh, and there you go. Okay, so this is how you can use the combination of byte array and file output stream. So let's move on to the next test case. I'm gonna set it to false, and in the next test case we're gonna make use of input stream this time. So we are again going to make use of response, and then you have the method as input stream. Okay, this returns you input stream. So let's save that. So say input stream. So this comes from java.io. Okay, and you call it downloaded file is equal to this. Okay, then we have to create the file object. So we say file, which again comes from java.io. Let's call it file is equal to new file. Okay, and you have to provide the string path name. So we are again gonna make use of this particular string because this is where we want to download the file. There you go. Now next we have to copy this stream into this file. How are we going to do it? So we're gonna make use of Files API, which comes from java.nio.file, and we have the method copy, and in here you say this method, we have to provide the input stream, the path, okay, and standard copy options. Okay, so let's provide the input stream, target, you have the file, and then you have the method to path. Okay, and for options you say standard copy option, which comes from java.niu.file, and then you have this replace existing. We are going to select this. Now this is throwing us some exception, so we say add the throw declaration. Okay, so we've added it, we are good. Next step, we just have to close the resource, so we say downloaded file is.close. There you go, it's that simple. Now let us run this. Alright, so the test case is passed, and let's refresh the project and see if the file is also downloaded. Yes, it is. Okay, so let us delete it again, set this test case to false and move on to the next one. And you might have already guessed it, so I'm gonna make use of try with resources now. Okay, so we set it to true, and this is my resource, isn't it? So I'm just gonna wrap that in this try block like this, and now I'm simply gonna copy this code inside this, and now I don't require to explicitly close my resource. I'm gonna save this and run my test case again. There you go, test case is passed. Hopefully the file is also downloaded. So I'm gonna refresh it, double click on it, and there you go. So guys, this is how you're going to download files in REST Assured. I hope you like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.